So we've been talking about Kill Team. I have a couple of podcasts push up. The next one is going to be about terrain, and all these are going under the 40K archive on my YouTube channel, and on my blog there's kind of a post over there. I want to talk about my Kill Team Spire of Drex, and we're going to explore the narrative from this, because Kill Team is a great way to really build the narrative in 40K, and I'm really stoked. I'm really psyched that Games Workshop has made Kill Team official. Now, it's existed in the past under various rule sets. It existed in 4th edition Kill Team. 5th edition, we had Combat Patrol. We have Inquisimundo. We have various skirmish-type tournaments. And that's not to say we couldn't explore those, but I always have found that many 40K players, and this isn't just 40K players, this is every gaming system, the gaming company tends to say, this is the way you play 40K, or this is the way you play Battletech, or whatever the system is going to be. And anytime you deviate from that, it's harder to find players, because you go to the club or you go to the store and you're like, hey, let's play Kill Team, and they're like, well, I brought my entire army of 100 Space Marines and 50 tanks, and I've got a Titan in there, and I've got 3 Knights. That's what I want to play. I only want to play that. And that's fair, right? Because they spent the time and effort in that. Where now that Kill Team is official, it's kind of, I feel like Games Workshop has elevated. They've kind of pushed it forward on there. So I'm really, really happy that they've done that. And also that means we're going to get updates. We're going to get various things. It's a really good time to be involved in 40K in all of its incarnations. Now, if we can just get Relic done. Is WizKids handling Relic? That makes me very nervous. That means half the stuff is going to be painted weird and cards are going to be misprinted. But, I mean, just let's get like the next incarnation of Relic out there so we can kind of explore that from that perspective. But in terms of Kill Team, the narrative is very, very important. Now, I want you to pause this for a second, because the link underneath this podcast is going to take you to my friend Rob's site. He is an amazing 40K converter. He is an amazing visionary in what he creates, and he created this Kill Team for me. This Spires of Drex, that's the name that I gave. But he knows my... Can you love Khorn? I feel like I'm doing a disservice by saying I love Khorn, but I certainly don't hate Khorn. Do I rage Khorn? I like playing Khorn. I love playing Khorn, and that's expressed in regular 40K. My Berserkers of Scalathrax. I love the close combat. I love the martial honor of Khorn. It kind of gives you some justification for doing some really shady stuff, because you just say, hey, it's martial honor, and I'm honorable. It's almost like being like lawful evil in D&D. You basically justify it through this system of kind of twisted chaos morals on there. So it brings up some interesting points in the game. And in pushing that out and playing regular 40K and getting into Kill Team, Rob put together and created this amazing Kill Team for me to play. And that link, we're looking at some of the pictures now of it, but the link under this podcast is going to take you to that. So I get this Kill Team a little while ago, and I'm like, this deserves a narrative, and this deserves its own posts. And every game that I play, whether it's a campaign or a one-off, like we need to get behind it. So everything begins, the Spires of Drex, the focus of my warband is Cord the Unbroken, the blood prophet of Khorn. He is a world eater, pre-heresy. He was there during the Siege of Terra. He was there during the Exodus from Terra, and he has existed in the Eye of Terror as a Chaos Space Marine. He doesn't quite view himself as a Khorn Berserker. He still views himself as a world eater. I mean, there's that lineage. There's that martial honor. There's that justification that Horus was right. So the warband that has still tried their best, of course, there's a corrupting influence in everything, and Angron being turned into a demon prince and kind of following that. But in his eyes, and about 100 or so other world eaters that were independent of Scalathrax and what Karn did and everything, he considers himself part of the original Legion. So he's, I don't want to say hired, he's influenced, he's promised martial glory, martial honor by the Blind King to help with this invasion of Drex. And Drex is this Mechanicus world, one of many unnamed worlds, a Forge world, a Hive, and there's going to be this massive chaos invasion. So Cord goes in with the main invasion, and he's down there doing what he has to do, fighting Imperial Guard, fighting Adeptus Mechanicus, fighting Servitors, and of course being a pre-heresy legionnaire, World Eater. His war band and the group he's with is really taking a lot of skulls for Khorne. Well, the Blind King, of course, has his own ambitions, and he was just there essentially for a cash and grab, grabbing whatever, get in, get out, and he leaves Cord and his warband essentially to rot on Drex, and they try to fight their way back to the drop ships. They're just abandoned and everything, and just absolute no martial honor. So in that moment, Cord swears vengeance. He swears revenge on the great brass throne of Khorne, that he will catch up to the Blind King and put him to the bolt pistol and chainsword. Of course, the Imperial Guard, the Space Marines, the Inquisition, they view Drex as lost, but there's a lot of secrets. There's a lot of stuff still on Drex, so maybe one day it has to be recaptured, reconquered in the name of the Emperor and the High Lords of Terra. So the whole thing just gets cyclone bombed and just bombed into oblivion, completely wiped out. Well, naturally, Cord survives. And the broken landscape, the toxic landscape, the ruins of Drex, there's one spire left from the largest hive world, hive city out there. And at the very top, you can just kind of see it on certain nights where you can actually see fragments to the night sky. You can see this spire reaching up there, and there is a lone inquisitorial ship. You can see the inquisitorial symbols. You can see the ever-seeing eye. You can see the brass Imperial eagles on there. One ship docked there. And Cord knows if he can get up that spire, if he can get on that ship, if he can take out whatever Inquisitor is on there, he has a way off the planet. And then he can find his way. So this has been his quest in this wasteland. And he's trying to build up followers. He's trying to build up enough of a warband, because not only does he have to fight his way through the wastelands, he's got to fight his way through the spire and fight his way through to the inquisitorial ship. Equipment-wise, he maintains parts of his power armor. So he's been on Drex how long? And there's no resupply. There's nothing. It's completely shattered. He's been there, 5, 10, 15, 20 years? So his power armor is literally has a Prometheum engine in the back. Think of like a lawnmower engine or power engine or some sort of car engine powering a small portion of the bionics and the power armor. He still has the helmet on there. So a lot's been lost. But he has his plasma pistol. He's got his chain sword. And he still has his martial honor intact. And the butcher's nails are still working in his head. So on Drex, there's a lot of Imperial Guardsmen that were left, a lot of kind of servitors, a lot of the population just completely left to rot by the Imperium. And, of course, the influence of chaos and various things. He has brought a number of those survivors over to his warband, and these are the Immortals of Cord. They wear kind of the death masks of Khorne, and when one Immortal falls, the mask is removed, and the new Immortal that takes its place puts the mask on. They've got a variety of weapons, auto guns, las guns, improvised weapons, power swords, chain swords, just kind of blunt cleavers. Armor is maybe flak, mesh, carapace, just a whole mix of about 10 or 15, 20 different models that cycle in and out to illustrate the ever-changing core of this warband. And that's kind of the bulk of Cord's foot troops. He has a couple of specialists. So he has Golgoth, who is a renegade Imperium Ogren. He did his job too well. He was told to take skulls. He was told to fight. Eventually he figured, hey, if he got rewarded for beating the enemy, let's start taking some skulls from his own Imperial Guard regiment and the other Ogrens out there and the commissars, just no distinction. So he was kind of left to rot on Drex, and Cord befriended him. So now you've kind of got the Brute Squad going on. In the Wastes, Golgoth was able to capture, subjugate Kellhounds, kind of these beasts of Khorne, these kind of large, is it a bear, is it a dog, is it something? Rob created these models where the level of detail, think of like these kind of really whacked out Khornate dogs. that have chains on them. They're like doll chains, literally real chains. And they have like real fur on them. And it's weird picking up a model. I mean, this is a level of detail that he's put in to not only these models, but all of his models. And again, that link is underneath this podcast, this vlog. You pick up your model in 40K and you're like, it's got real hair. Like, you get to pet it and everything. It's a very, very interesting experience. But the Kellhounds, they're kind of the fast attack. They're kind of the fast movers. And then the final piece is Object 236. This is a Mechanicus creation. It's kind of a rogue servitor. It's kind of this industrial type, half human, half machine, half something. So the inspiration, I think, would be, Mad Machine from Judge Dredd, where you're just going to unleash that. You're going to, whatever it sees, it's going to go for. And I'm going to turn it from number 1 to number 3. Mean Machine, excuse me. That was almost heresy right there, being a Dredd fanatic. And just point the object right in that direction. So there's a diversity of units. And in designing this warband, the idea behind it, besides being Khorn-centric, was system independent. So we can take this theme, this Spires of Drex narrative, the Spires of Drex theme, and play it across a variety of systems. For a long time, I've played it as Inquisimunda. I've played it in Combat Patrol. I've played it in Necromunda, a lot of Necromunda games. Now we're getting into Kill Team and exploring it from that perspective on there. So the models are interchangeable with what they represent, the war gear they have, and what they support. Think of bringing 40K down to that level. Things get really, really interesting when now you can explore, and this kind of complements Titanicus, right? You could go things bigger with these giant war machines, but now we can take things smaller rather than an army clashing. Think about, well, I was going to say like 10 or 15 models. If you're playing, my Grey Knight kill team's got like 5 on there, and that makes every loss really, really cringeworthy. But think about playing on a smaller scale, where if you have 10, 15, 20 models, and that's it for the game, suddenly that narrative becomes a lot different. And the flavor and feel of the game becomes a lot different with how you play it.